Hey everyone, it's Aaron from Great. This video is pretty exciting because it was one of the earlier integrations that I built on make.com when I first launched Great back in January. So it'll be fun to go back through and see what I built, see if there's any potential areas for improvement, and just share with you everything about how I've been automatically creating blog posts each week to help with SEO and just help grow my business at WannaGrade. So let's jump in. So let's start with, as we always do, a little bit of summary about what it is that we are actually building. So this was an internal one-integration. A one-integration is just what we call automations that we build at OneToGreat, and it's a weekly blog post generator. Some of the challenges why this came up for us was inconsistent scheduling, so we weren't keeping a cadence, we weren't being consistent with it. It takes a lot of time to create a lot of manual content. It's just me and my co-founder. There's just two of us. We're also building integrations for our actual clients. We're running a business. We're managing finances, strategy, marketing, sales, all of the internal processes, everything. So having a consistent weekly blog post was really important for us, but we didn't want it to just have, it needed to have an intention. So we didn't want to just like have AI generate whatever. We needed to be specific about what we were doing. We wanted to add value. We wanted to have our readers really understand it. And so in this automation, you're going to see it doesn't actually just automatically create it and then post it externally to our blog. I want to have an opportunity to go in and make whatever edits, revisions, and more importantly, just tailor it to who I am, like what value I have. And there's a lot of weeks where I'm like, no, this one isn't good. I don't want to post this one. I'm just going to create my own. So this is really a content inspiration automation. It just makes it easier for me to not have to think about going in and doing something. It's just the end state is I get a Slack notification with the page that has all the content that I can start to review, slice, dice, edit, and really make my own. But it's doing a lot of the upfront legwork on actually getting me started. So yeah, inconsistent scheduling, SEO challenges. So I am not a marketer or an SEO expert at all. I've been learning a lot about it, but I knew that for SEO takes a long time. And it really requires consistency. So this is a one opportunity that we were able to actually have an automation that helps us with it. So how does it work? It starts from Google Sheets. So this is where we're able to create our own custom kind of titles, SEO keywords, and content that we're going to feed into ChatGPT in order to create. It uses OpenAI. This is our using the OpenAI APIs actually. So this is not just chatting with it. We call the OpenAI endpoints through make.com, and then Slack to let me know that it's ready for review, and then Notion, which is where everything is just centralized, where I do all the edits and everything like that. So we just talked about the different types of tools, and let's jump in. Let's see. So see how we got time savings, consistency, and SEO optimization. So here is our make scenario. Pretty straightforward, just one solid line. It's always fun when there's multiple paths, but in this case, we didn't need it. So let's see what we did. So we're starting from Google Sheets. We have a new row pulling from the spreadsheet ID. So this is where it pulls from, and it does it every Monday at 6 a.m. And I want to see, I added a filter here. So I didn't want it to keep in the Google Sheets. I didn't want it to keep pulling the same row that I gave it. So I needed to, at the end, you'll see that I actually update the Google Sheets to indicate that the status is done. So it'll only pick up ones that are pending, essentially. Um, did my video crap out? All right, technical difficulties. My video cropped out on the Loom. So this is part two, but from your perspective, you'll see this edited together. So yeah, so we're only pulling from rows that have pending, which means things that we want to pull. So we're not going to keep running the same article over and over. And let's go look in the Google Sheets. So in here, I have two rows or two tabs. I have the actual content, which is the results, but then I have a hub of ideas. And so you can start to see, I just put in things that I wanted to make sure I talked about. So in ChatGPT, I said, hey, here's a bunch of things that I want to talk about. Can you create blog post titles, SEO keywords, and like a content details? And then I went through, I refined that list, and I brought it down to about 20 of them that resonated with me, edited some of the information here. You can see this is just kind of a one sentence summary the title, and then what SEO keywords I wanted to make sure that it used. I went through this morning actually because I realized that I ran out. I only did 20 of them. So I actually added quite a bit more. And since it had been a number of months since I last built this, there's a lot more information that I was able to share with it that aligns a lot closer to what we're doing at One to Grade. So we're doing a lot of automated marketing projects, CRM integrations. We've been doing a lot with HubSpot and Pipedrive and Salesforce, a lot more in AI. So I trained it on other projects that we're working on and more niches that we're trying to get into. And so that's kind of the concept here. I just need to add it. And I probably should figure out an automation to add ideas to this. That'll be a separate one integration. That'll be something for later. So let's take a look. So what is it doing? So it pulls a row. So the next one that it's going to pull is the latest pending one, which is going to be here. So this will be top 6 questions to ask when deciding what to automate. So let's pretend like we have that. And you know what? I'm actually going to go to the history because it is a lot more revealing and I can explain it about a lot more when I see the actual bundles and the output. And I think people here are interested in actually seeing like more of this sort of information. So we have our bundle, and the output is the blog post title, SEO, keywords, and content, status pending, row number 21. Beautiful. Um, in here, I have just, okay, I want to show you how I set up OpenAI, but for what we're doing here, the message is pretty simple. Create a blog post that contains around 500 words that covers the below details, and I'd feed it in the information from the Google Sheets, right? I do have an assistant here, and so in order to set up this ChatGPT OpenAI module in Make, you actually have to have a paid subscription on platform OpenAI. So it is pretty much calling, and you need to put in the API keys. I'm not going to show us how to do that now. There's a lot of great help articles, super simple to set up. But essentially, I created an assistant that I'm using, and so this particular assistant, you can see the unique identifier is the same, and I essentially just say, hey, you're a helpful assistant who's creating blog posts, a low-code automations agency, and I just put in information that it should know about it, right? So I'm actually setting this up here. I am using ChatGPT 4.0, the latest and greatest version, and it looks like I can actually add files. So this might be something that I would love to update by adding some content. Actually, you know what? Let's do this right now. So I actually have some more information. I want to pull in these. And I also want to add in some information about, I downloaded like an entire summary from LinkedIn, just like saved a page of everything that I've been posting so that I can learn my voice and it can learn kind of the content that I'm posting so it can use that to inspire things as well. So we'll go ahead and toggle this on. So it's now using this as well. Temperature, I do want to bring down to like 0.7. So temperature means that it's not going to create too much fluff. Like it's going to use what it has to generate it, and it's not going to add like random things that I don't need. So 7 sounds good here. And where did it save it? I don't know if the save button somewhere. I think it saved it. Okay. So anyway, so that's the setup over here. So you can feed it just instructions, name it. And in the make scenario, this is all of these are tied to that same OpenAI assistant. And there's it goes through 3 different modules, and that's because I need 3 different outputs for what I'm doing. So the first one is just create the main blog post. The second one is create a short form for LinkedIn that if I decided I want to get this on LinkedIn, but I didn't want like a 500 word post, I can just grab a shorter version and then an even shorter version for Twitter. The original build, I tried to get all 3 of these from one module, and it just was not working as I needed it to. So I found that it's best to have a separate module for like individual pieces of content that you're looking for. Let's go back into the actual diagram so you can see how I've set this up and like what I told it to do. So we know this one's pretty straightforward. This is the relevant assistant. I'd like to change this to 4.0 while I'm here. Okay, and then the create LinkedIn. So now I said, okay, now create a short form version. And what it's doing is it's actually taking, excuse me, it's actually taking what the previous um, ChatGPT response was, and then it's cutting that down. Okay, and then, oh man, excuse me, and then it's doing the same exact thing. It's taking the main article and then it's creating an even shorter form version, right? And so definitely should update this to 4.0 as well. We'll save that. Okay. And then the last step is it creates a Google Sheets. And so I'm going back into the blog post generator Google Sheets, and then I'm going to update and I'm essentially adding in everything that it created. So I'm creating a Google Sheets, kind of keeping all that information, acting somewhat as a database to like keep all of that in case I need to reference it again in the future. And yeah, that's what it's doing. And then it goes to Notion. So I'll show you what that looks like, where it creates a database item and then creates a page, and then it puts all of that information onto the page. So it has full review, the blog post title, and I put in here's the topic. So this is the full blog post, and then I have another one for the LinkedIn short form version where I set up, okay, this is a paragraph, the title for that above this is like the LinkedIn version. I pull in that information from there, and you can see finally the Twitter short form version as well. So I'm now centralizing all of this information and putting it all into Notion. That's great if it's in Notion, but I need to be notified as well. So this then creates a Slack notification that goes to me, and this is really the first time each week that I'm now interacting with this automation. So this is the time that it raised its hand and says, "Hey, Aaron, I completed all of this work for you automatically. It's your turn to go in and review this, make any changes and edits that you need, and start to take action to get this on the blog." Right? Lastly, and I'll show you what that looks like. Lastly, we have just updating it again. So I'm just taking the row number that it had and just putting in the status done so that the next run, it does not pull from any columns that are in the done. It only pulls from pending. Okay, so let's see. Let's start in the Google Sheet so we can see kind of the raw outputs of this. And so if I go to content, you can see I don't care about formatting in here, but the columns I have are blog post ID. It's just a unique identifier, the blog post content, which I can click into and see a bit more about what it created. We have the short form version here. We have the Twitter version. And then I think yeah, I guess I told it to like, hey, tell me if I wanted to create a graphic for this, what would you create if you could create any graphic? And so it just has like, okay, here's some ideas, some eye-grabbing hooks. So once again, this is inspiring me. This is telling me, hey, like just giving me everything I need to be successful with this particular post without me having to come up with all the ideas on my own. I can look at this brainstormed list of ideas and then just implement it. So let's look at Notion. So here uh no, I don't want to look here. This is like this is the internal storage of it. Okay, let's look over here. So yeah, so you can see each week it's been sending me a notification to my journal, and it's saying like, okay, here's the future of business integration, trends and predictions, and then a link to the content. So this is the actual thing that I get every Monday. And I said, for review, here's the blog post title. And this tells me, okay, here's the blog post as we rapidly advance. So I'll go in here and I'll pretty much start to edit this. And then I have the LinkedIn version and the Twitter version as well. So it makes it really simple, really easy for me to jump in. I can just start typing, editing away right here. And then once I have it in a place where I'm good to go, I'll copy and paste this and put it onto our blog at wannagreat.com/blog. Pick an image from the library there, and I'll try to include as many links to other pages as well. I'm finding that works with traction. So the more I can interconnect like a blog post with another page on the website, it just helps kind of keep people on the site and get their curiosity sparking a bit more. So that's what I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. I would love to give this blueprint away for free. So I'm doing this. So if this is something you're interested in, you can find this blueprint. I'll put the link down below so that you can access this. If you learned something, or if this resonated with you in any way, I would love for you to give me a like and even better, a subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 followers. I'm at 49 right now. So if 50 of you could give me that little subscribe, I'm here to create, to share a lot of the creations that I'm building. And I really want to build a community and a network. And I want to hear your ideas. So if you have a concept or an idea for an automation, put it in the comment section. And I'd love to build that for you, or at least start to brainstorm how I would approach that particular automation idea. So once again, it's Aaron from Want to Great. It's always fun to do these videos. Take care, everyone.